Welcome to this meeting of the Joint Standards Committee on Monday, the 8th of April. Want to begin the meeting with agenda item number 1, which is declarations of interest. So if any of the members of the committee have got a declaration of interest. Apologies. Nope. Okay. Moving on. I've just got some apologies. I've got apologies from Councillor Rawlings, and I've had a note from Councillor Lomas to say that she's running a little bit late, but she will arrive hopefully in good time. Item number 2, exclusions of press and public. This is just a normal standard item for us in regard to excluding press and public when we come to look at the confidential papers, when we look at the monitoring officer's report on the complaints that have been received. The relevant legislation that covers that is on your papers. I'm not going to read it all out. But are we happy to exclude the press and public when we come to the private session on item number 7? Yep, lovely. Okay, thank you for that. So minutes. We have some minutes to approve of the meeting held on the 6th of March. Does anybody have any notes or comments or amendments that we need to look at before I sign those? No. The heads are still down, so I'll just wait until the heads are up. So there was just one thing that we had mentioned, which was the review of the work plan, and we were going to ask for the training log to be on the meeting. Officers have informed me that that's not available at this meeting, but they are still working on that to try and have it at the next meeting. So although we had agreed that we would look at it, it will be at the next meeting. So with that in mind, are members happy for me to sign these?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I have no items of urgent business for this afternoon. And item number 5, public participation. There are no registered speakers for this. So that will bring us on to item number 7, which is the review of the work plan, which is on page 7 of your agenda. We were as I mentioned a moment ago, we were going to look at the training, but the member training update, I'm told, will be available for us at our May meeting. Something that I just was aware of, and we were chatting informally before the meeting started, and you'll recall that we had a discussion around the table with regards to the procedure and the process when it comes to complaints against chairs and against executive members and shadows and what have you. And the general consensus round the table seemed to be that we're happy for chairs of committees and for shadows not to be part of that process. So therefore it's a constitutional change, but executive members would still have that same process in place. I know that it's not ideal for everybody, but in terms of kind of openness and transparency, that should go to the constitutional subcommittee to have a look at that. Councillor Fisher.
Thank you. I'd say that would include chairs of parish council as well, who are covered at the moment. If chair of parish council is complaining against it, it has to go for assessment. I assume that they will be exempt as well.
Thank you. My understanding was that the parish council chairs weren't going to be included in that. Again, what I think we need to do is if we don't keep an eye on stuff like this, we make a decision around the table, it comes off the workflow, and we almost forget about it, and it can get kicked into the long grass. I'm not saying for 1 minute. Hello, Councillor Lomas, welcome. I'm not accepted. We've just everyone's aware that you were running a little bit late. I'm not saying for a minute that this is going to be kicked into the long grass, but the Constitutional Subcommittee hasn't met. I just think it would be good to have it as a recurring item on the forward workflow, so that we can at least reference it and see where we are with it, so that when it does come to the Constitutional Working Group, they can look at it, the recommendations can go to full council, and we can get that changed. Because at the moment, we're still working to the current policy process, which means if an executive member or a chair or a shadow or a parish council chair is complained about, then it goes to subcommittee. So the idea is just for common sense that we get that change, but we are the vehicle for change. But I just want to make it sure it's on the workflow regularly, so that we get an update from officers as to where we are with that, whether the subcommittee have met, whether it's been approved. It also gives us an opportunity to look back and see exactly what it is we've agreed, and if there's been any kind of change of consensus in that short period of time. So I've asked for that to go on the work plan for May. Member training is on the work plan for May. I just would like, with your permission, that to be a recurring item until it's actually gone to full council and it's been decided. As far as the July meeting is concerned, at the moment the standard items are on there. The constitutional change will probably be on there as a recurring item. Does anybody have any other areas that we feel that we should be looking at as a committee that we're not currently looking at? That's fine. So with the addition of what I've just mentioned, then are we happy for that work plan to be as it is with the additions that I've mentioned? Just a nod around the table. Yep, lovely. Thank you for that. That brings us on to item number 7, which is the monitoring officer's report on complaints received, and you will have 2 pages. You'll have a redacted public set of papers, and then you'll have the pink confidential papers. Please don't let the pink confidential papers be seen by the camera until we've excluded press and public. I'm going to ask Frances if she wants to just go through the public report for us, and then we will look at it in more detail in the confidential report. Frances.
Thank you, Chair. Then yes, in relation to the open cases, we still have a reasonably low number of open cases and are managing to get through the work on these. We are still awaiting a hearing on the 2 cases that have been on the top of that list, but a date has been identified for that. The original scheduled date and the new date are mentioned in the report, so that is progressing. There is an update on a further case recommended for investigation, and I'd like to discuss with committee in the private session the way forward on that, bearing in mind the quotations given for the work to be done externally, which was the subcommittee's recommendation. The other cases which are open and under assessment are moving towards an informal resolution, and again an update can be given directly from this afternoon, perhaps from the independent person and myself on progress on those cases. Nothing more to share in the public session, Chair.
Okay. Do any members have any questions that we can ask in the public session before we go into the private session? I'm just aware that we need to give you an opportunity should anybody have any questions they want to ask without naming names. No? Okay, so thank you for that. So for those that are watching online, we are going to end the broadcast. We won't be coming back afterwards. Thank you for watching, and we are now going to go into private session, and when I get the nod,